Hey everyone, Rick here. Sometimes the first, I don't know how many seconds to a minute cut off of these live videos when they then become a VOD. But folks, we have a gigantic box of painted miniatures here. When I first got the box delivered to me today, I had to crack it open and I pulled out one single figure. Hopefully the video quality on this won't be the absolute worst. My live streaming quality is so bad. But this is the first figure, and if this figure is representative of what else is in this box, then we are in for a good time. This is one of Helga's Valkyries. For Lion Rampant, she is going to be in a unit of what we're calling warrior infantry, and that's not what we call it. That is what Osprey Wargaming and Daniel Mercy, the author, the designer of Lion Rampant, call that type of unit. But I'm just absolutely thrilled. This whole unit hopefully is going to be fantastic if that first figure is any indication of what's to come. The rest of these are going to be very much wrapped up. So, of course, I'm completely unprepared. I actually forgot to grab a knife and some other unpacking materials, but here we go. We have a lot of figures to unbox. I'm just going to pull out this, and then we will be off to the races. And carefully, as you can see, one of the lances of one of these guys is already peeking through. These lances are absolutely lethal. These Wargames Foundry wire lances are sharpened to a lethal point. This fell off of this individual, but you can see how sharp that actually is. I stuck myself with these multiple times when we unboxed the last big old group of these folks. Oh my gosh, look at all these. It looks like this is... Now, I should have actually maybe put a bit of a disclaimer on this because some of these ladies aren't wearing anything up top, but hopefully that's just kind of artistic expression. So you can see there's some teats. Oh my gosh. That's probably going to get us banned. But look at that. How cool is that? This is a unit of warrior infantry. So that is the second of those kind of figures. Looks like this whole package is going to be warrior infantry. And so here are a couple more. And I'm not going to go through this whole thing this slow because we have, like, I think 160 miniatures to get to. But there's another one. That's a face only a mother could love. But my gosh. Of course, I'm seeing these also for the first time in person. So this is actually very exciting for me as well. But yeah, when I was placing my Wargames Foundry order for figures that I wanted for Lion Rampant, one of the units, for the warrior infantry especially, I want Vikings, I want Nordic forces, I want berserkers. And then I came across these like Nordic Viking female warriors, and I'm like, yes, I need an all-female unit of warrior infantry, and that is what we found with these. And so yeah, I am super, super excited about those. There's one in here though. Where is she? Because there's Helga herself in here. Yeah, this is Helga. Take a look at that and tell me that is not Helga herself. I mean, holy smokes. She looks like she is already belting out an operatic solo. But yeah, that just looks fantastic. So super excited about her. But I mean, look at this. If that wasn't Helga, this probably would be. She seems like she is quite the big old boss herself. Look at that Warhammer. Oh my goodness. And I like what they did with the wash on the horns. That looks pretty sweet. And I don't know if that's just, I think maybe some of the paint kind of rubbed off of her face there. I was going to say, she got a little battle scarred already. Good Lord. These are metal miniatures, of course. All right, parental guidance, parental guidance. Yikes. That is, she's not exactly the best, most armed individual we've got, but, and I don't even see someone who this lance could have come from, so maybe this was a lance from a different unit. Here are a couple more. It likes to focus when I'm doing one. Now I love like the crow or the raven on that shield. That looks so cool. But I also love the headgear of these. And I also like the color scheme that they went with. There she is. I was going to say something else, but we're going to stick with there she is. And then a few more of these. And they're all different poses, if you've noticed. So unlike a lot of the male units who have doubled up on duplicates, these are all different poses. So very, very cool. How many is that? Is that the full unit? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Yep. That is a 12-woman unit of warrior infantry. Those are Helga's Valkyries. And let's move on. We have another unit here. I need to grab scissors. Let me be back. Just totally unprepared for this unboxing. We had to grab scissors. Oh my goodness. Okay, we have what looks to be some... Oh great, now I'm getting things tangled up with this. Where's the edge of this? This live should be titled Rick Fumbles Around with Bubble Wrap. Okay, here we go. Let's snip away at this tape that way. Oh man, you can actually see in the background there. Oh shoot. You can see in the background over here. If I can zoom in. Can I zoom in? Wow, I can actually zoom in. This is my Lion Rampant storage solution. Well, let's go over there. I don't even need to zoom in. We can just take a peek at this. This is where I have all my Lion Rampant figures right now in these drawers. And these drawers pull out as trays. So I can take them right over to the table. We have all of our figure. We have our cavalry up there all the way down. And then plenty of room for the expansion, which is what we are doing here now. Okie doke. As we were. I wish I could get this to come down a ways. That doesn't seem to be happening. What if I flipped it like this? Nope. Nope. Alright. Oh gosh, now it is like completely upside down. Okay, hopefully that's better. But what I'm actually going to do is this. This way I can bring it down like this. Yeah, there we go. Now we're cooking with gas. Now the problem here is, hopefully I'll be able to see what you see with this turned around. All right, we have a bunch of archers here. And this is, they wrap these, I think, in a full unit. So this is all 12 of these archers. Some of these bows are a little worse for wear. We'll have to get those rebent back into shape, but that is no biggie. These, I think there are multiple of the same poses here, but take a peek at some of those guys. I do like this green and chainmail color scheme for these archers. The focus is not too bad on this live stream. I wonder what I'm doing differently than in the past. Hopefully it translates well to you guys also. All right, so that is our unit of archers. I actually like the hat on this one. How cool is that? And he's got like a hatchet tucked into his front belt there. Is that a hatchet? Or is that like a breastplate? I think it's a hatchet because he's lightly armored. So I can't imagine that would be a breastplate. And I want to get these. Let's see, what can I do here? I want to move these around a little bit because I know we're going to be filling up fast. I should have had a sack or something for all this refuse. All right, let's move Helga and her Valkyries back a ways. And we can start filling in the rest of these troops from there. We'll put Helga front and center. All right, and then we can actually probably stack these archers behind her. There we go. Still need to find out who that lance belongs to. But all right, we are primed and ready for the next batch of figures. Here it's going to be these. All right, here we go. Who do we have here? Oh, it is a unit of crossbowmen. This looks fantastic. Oh my gosh. I actually love the color scheme of these guys. I can't tell if that individual is part of this unit. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Because he's like a swordsman. He may be like a commander or a captain, but I mean, my God, he's decked out like a full-blown knight in this unit of lightly armed crossbowmen. Though I love this. Look at this guy. I mean, that's just a story waiting to happen, right? He's a crossbowman, but he's holding a knight's helm, a man-at-arms helm. How cool is that? I just like that pose. That's a very cool, characterful pose. And there's not like multiple of those. Here's another cool guy. I mean, I think they all look good, but... And then, of course, we're doing this as a live stream now, but eventually, maybe later tonight, I'm not sure, we'll see. I am going to do a full overview of all my Lion Rampant figures that Blue Table Painting has painted for me. I actually really like this guy's helm too. All right. That is another unit down. I'm just going to fling them over there for right now. That was easy enough. All right. Should we get into some cavalry now? Now, here's the thing. There's going to be a lot of cavalry here because this set of figures is where all my mounted banner bearers and mounted special characters are. Yeah, these guys, oh my gosh, I am so thrilled for these. Look at this. We have a mounted priest, and I believe there are a few of these because in Lion Rampant, you can add a mounted priest or mounted special character, whatever you want to call them, to a unit, and you can add priests to both foot and mounted units. So I made sure I got some monks on foot and some priests on horseback, and I just love it. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to have him fuel the morale of the unit as they charge in. And I can't remember if this is an actual unit or if these are special characters. But look at the shields. Look at the handiwork on the shields. I feel like that is so cool. Oh my gosh. I guess I could be looking at the code. That's the other thing I need to go do is grab my codex of, because I have the letter and number codes written down. The work on the horses is so good. Oh my gosh. So there's that one guy, and then here's this guy. Like, what even is that? I guess that was a... Yeah, that's cool. I was like, that's not freehand. That is actually sculpted detail. Again, these are all metal figures. That's like sculpted detail on the cape that they were able to pick out with paint. So, yeah, these just look so good. Oh my gosh. I am loving that for sure. Let me know if the way this camera orientation is good or bad. Like, it gives me the all clear when I'm vertical like that. But let me just sneak it back over to horizontal. No, it gives me like this upset, angry message when it's horizontal. But I swear I have it in horizontal filming mode. Don't yell at me, don't yell at me, don't yell at me. As soon as I get to about there, it starts yelling. Damn it. I don't want to have to start and restart it all over again. Okay, but hopefully it's okay and it's just yelling at me and it's not like actually messing up the feed. But if it's like sideways for you guys, definitely let me know. Okay, what is this? This looks like more infantry of some kind. It is an archer unit. Yes. Part of one anyway. Look at these guys. Oh my goodness. Look at his happy little face. I actually like the color scheme of these guys, how it's just kind of brown, just earth tones. With a pop of color, because you got to have the purple-capped archers, right? But look at this guy. They decide. I love, again, this was artistic freedom, artistic license, I believe they call it. And so I allowed it because it was a discount. And I'll explain all of that when I actually go over the whole army, the whole Lion Rampant project. But just a quick blurb is, you know, they have a flat fee for level 3. This is their lowest level of paint work. And of course I did that because I'm not a millionaire and I had 500 figures I needed to get painted. So you can imagine how expensive that could be if you go to a commission service. But with Blue Table Painting, if you pay it all up front, because they do give you the option to do a deposit or to pay it all up front, they give you a discount if you pay it all up front, and they give you a discount if you do artistic license. And I can see why most people probably wouldn't want to do artistic license. I'm actually going to leave these on the bubble wrap. That way I can slide them away. I can see why people wouldn't want to do artistic license for the most part, because you have your units, your troops, you want them to look the way you want them to look. But for me, I just wanted generic medieval Dark Age forces, and I did not want historic accuracy for the heraldry or anything. I just wanted generic troops that I could use as anything. So artistic license worked out so well for me because that was a huge discount. That was like a 20, I don't want to make things up, but I think it was like a 20% discount if I just gave the artist free reign. And obviously they're not going to paint these neon pink or anything, so that's always good. Oh my gosh, these are so good. Folks, look at these. So see, you'll get really cool looking things like this even when you do artistic license. Like, because I was like, I would never be like, okay, paint some guy metal, tan, and like sea blue. Like, I wouldn't even know to think that. But so they did it and it looks fantastic. But then look at this guy. Look at the shield. Look at the green and red combo. Love that so much. That looks so fantastic. And I will eventually figure out what unit all these go to. These are C1. What is this? This is C2. So C, I believe, was light cavalry. Yep. Light cavalry makes sense. That's why these are mounted bowmen. And this is a mounted javelineer. And then I'm going to put these other heavy guys on here, just to be able to slide them out of the way for now. Oh gosh, now they're all tumbling. Okay, next. More cavalry. I do remember after the last unboxing we did of these figures, for the first 330 figures or so, we said, all right, the biggest thing that was missing that they were still working on were the banner bearers, special characters, and I think it was light cavalry, so it makes sense. Now these I am so excited about. One guy lost his shield, but that's okay. That's actually, after how many figures have we already unboxed? That's the first shipping casualty, so that's not too bad, right? Very cool little shield there. Come on, focus. I'm sure those crosses are freehand. I doubt those were sculpted in. But we have musicians to add to our mounted units. How exciting is that? So now we have a little bit of personality involved in our mounted units. So we have a couple of those. We'll have to just reattach his shield. And we have another mounted priest. Look at that guy. He is grumpy. He is tired. He's weary from spreading the news of our Lord to the heretics across medieval Europe, evidently, and beyond, of course. So those are so cool. All right, next. I'm just reaching into this box blind right now because I'm sitting down and I am not looking inside the box. So whatever comes out, comes out. We got to be careful, though. We don't want to snip anything we're not supposed to snip here, but looks like potentially some more light cavalry here. Oh my gosh. No, this... See, that's what I need to look up the code. This is an L2. I don't know if you can see that on there. That's definitely not going to focus, is it? L2. It's written in Sharpie down there. But look at this guy. He could be a commander of a unit, a captain of a unit. And in fact, I'm pretty sure that may be what he is. So that is very cool. Because look at this. They have the same kind of shield as well. So you can add a captain and a musician to any of your mounted units. Look how cool those look even together. Oh my gosh, that looks good. And then I think this is another light cav. So I'll put him with the light cav. He is a mounted archer. And we do have another mounted javelineer. We just need to reattach him to his saddle. But I love actually the green, white, and red color scheme of that heraldry. So again, that's just very, very cool. I need to fix his without messing up how it's glued into the hand. That looks okay. I just wanted to straighten out the javelin a little bit. Very cool. We'll put him with the other javelineer over here. Okay. Next, we got so many more to go. This has been a project, I want to say April, May, June, about 3 months in the making, potentially. Now, this is just a straight up full unit of crossbow. That is exactly what this is. Look at these guys. I actually really like this blue and brown color scheme on them. Very nice. I love this guy in the hood. That is very cool. And I got tape on my thumb. I like this guy with the hood. That looks really cool. So yeah, this is the lowest level of quality that they do, a level 3. Level 1 and 2, I don't even know what that would be, just primed and base colored or something like that. Level 3 just looks good from a distance. That's all it's meant to do. So like from here, does he look good on the tabletop? I'd say so, way better than I could do. And that's why, of course, I paid to get these commissioned. So yeah, just someone, at Blue Table Painting, just I think her name was Melinda. Kudos to Melinda. She spent the last couple months pumping out 500 medieval figures. That's just absolutely fantastic. Of course, being metal and them bumping and kind of rubbing up against each other, like this poor guy's nose, I think got it a little bit. So maybe a couple things for me to touch up here and there, but otherwise, I'm just so happy that they're done. 500 figures. It's like a dream come true. Slide those crossbows out of the way. And see what we've got next. More archers. Yes, and the exciting thing is I can use these figures for anything, not just Lion Rampant. Of course, I bought enough to use them all to make sure that I had enough figures for at least 4 of each type of Lion Rampant unit. But these are just generic medieval and dark age figures. I can use them for anything. I could use them for Baron's War. I could use them for that new Vitrix game, Pillage, which seems actually really cool and I'm kind of interested in. And I'm trying to talk myself out of buying more figures from them and then getting those commissioned too, because I'm like, Rick, we just bought 500 Wargames Foundry figures. So yeah, I like the green and tan color scheme of these guys too. It just looks so medieval, so like Renaissance fairish. I just love it. Oh my gosh, these guys are fantastic. Being, Wargames Foundry figures, they have so much character that I feel like sometimes is lost when people, companies nowadays sell, and I don't want to disparage anybody because figures these days look so good. Plastics and resin figures from Fireforge and all these other places. But I just feel like there's something about these old metals. It's just a period of miniature that I've always been drawn to. So here is another big old unit. Is that all of them? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Yep. All right. So that is another full unit of archers. Where are we going to slide these guys to? Let's just slide them over here, I guess. Okay, next up we have what? We're just reaching into the big box o' figs, and then here we have what I believe to be more musicians. So we just saw some mounted musicians that you can add to your heavy cav or what have you. Now we've got, I think, a lot of these, yeah, are foot musicians. Fantastic. So here we go, folks. We have these foot musicians with their bugle horns. We have a couple different styles of them as well. So we have ones like that. We have ones that are like blowing through a horn and one through a like actual instrument. So that is really cool. Kind of a green and yellow generic color scheme on those. So, do I have a normal unit here? I mean, a lot of these units, and I don't know, would I add a would I add a musician to a unit of archers? I don't know. Well, maybe. But I'm just thinking, like, how practical would that actually end up being? So let's say we had, this unit of archers. Does this bugler fit in with those? I mean, on the table, maybe. The colors are obviously off, but that's okay. I just am curious to know how many musicians I'm actually going to need. I obviously way overbought, unless I'm going to have a musician in every single unit. But there's what? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 musicians here. So maybe. We'll see. Some guy's poor bugle's limp. He's got a limp bugle. We'll just straighten that out. That's the beauty of metals. Of course, if it was plastic, it probably wouldn't have bent in the first place. Heck, if it was plastic or resin, it may have actually broken off. So that could be a benefit of them being metal. We still haven't found where that rogue lance came from yet, so that'll be interesting to see. But anytime I grab one of these cavalry bundles, I am trying to be cautious about not getting poked by those wire lances of absolute death. Who do we have here? Oh my gosh, look at this. This is one of our mounted musicians. We just had some other mounted musicians, right? Yeah, this is a different color scheme, though. Love that. Definitely love that. That is so cool. Plus, they did a little freehand on the saddle cloth as well. But that is fantastic. Oh, I'm so excited about that. And here's a couple more light cav. I say light cav as I pick up these solid metal figures who weigh quite a bit apiece. And they obviously are pretty well armed, and especially with the shields, right? But we're still calling these light cav because they're ranged with these javelins. So it is a whole big javelin. Well, I shouldn't say big because I think it's still only 6 figures. But we can stick that musician with them. Oh, that is so cool. Ouch. I just got stabbed. There's something. That's the problem of reaching blindly into the box. I just got stabbed by a lance. Oh my goodness. We haven't drawn blood though. That is the good news. We have not drawn blood. I love how the viewers spiked up to like 9 viewers as soon as I shouted out that I had been stabbed. Do you think that has anything to do with anyone's algorithm? That's funny. That is funny. But we didn't grab the unit that stabbed me, obviously. This is just a harmless, thumb-friendly unit of crossbowmen who would never stab anyone except with their crossbow bolts from halfway across the battlefield. Okay. Oh, folks! We did not just... Okay, sorry. I just messed up something. Hopefully that didn't restart everything. Okay. We pulled Charlemagne. Folks, I wanted a figure to represent a leader, like a commander. I have so many other figures that can be your Warband's commander. But Wargames Foundry, this is Wargames Foundry Charlemagne. And, you know, again, I left it up to artistic license. Come on, focus. So that they could paint him however they wanted to, in whatever color scheme they wanted to. And man, did they choose appropriately. I love the golden purple. That looks so good, and it looks especially good with like this musician, right? Like this musician specifically is also in that same color scheme. Come on and focus. How cool does that pairing look? Oh my gosh. But I wondered how they were going to paint him, and there he is. That is so good. And I'm sorry, we saw Charlemagne and we had to go for Charlemagne. So here, though, is the rest of these figures. Oh my gosh, there's another special character in here too. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Yep, this guy is on his own. This is a foot, looks like a musician. Look at that, like Thor's hammer, like Nordic hammer medallion or pendant around his neck, but he's holding the musician's horn, but he's pointing as if he was like a captain or something. How cool is that? I actually love that because you can imagine him sticking him with a unit of like archers or something, and then him pointing right at them and being, or pointing, at their target. Come on, what is with the focus? And being like, yeah, shoot them, shoot them. All right, anyways, now let's get back to the actual crossbowmen here who've been waiting patiently for their time in the sun. Wargames Foundry crossbows. Love them. Love them to pieces. Because again, I don't just have to use these for Lion Rampant. I can use these for anything. Okay, I guess we'll slide them over here. Because to our right is really packed full of troops right now. Okay, next. Is this turn? Alright, good. I gotta be careful now when I stick my hand in the box because here are some of the culprits. Oh my gosh, these lances are absolute death. I almost want to ask, like, Melinda at Blue Table Painting, and also whoever packed these, how many times they got stabbed by these lances. Because I can imagine just unboxing them and just even playing with them, they have pierced me to no end. But here we go. So these, I want to say, are banner bearers. Now there's a couple different types, and I'm actually really excited to make the banners myself. Now these are the kind of the spears, the lances, the poles that, come on, that are intrinsic, not intrinsic, but they're just kind of like actual model scale lances, whereas these are the lethal wire lances. And as you can see how long that is, and I actually like these lances being that long because then I can make and print out banners that are big old banners to go around there. You can imagine just a big old flag right here waving wrapped around that banner, whereas something like this, I'm going to need obviously a much shorter, much smaller banner. But I'm excited to have these because until I got these, I couldn't measure and print out the banners of the appropriate size. So I'm very excited to give these a shot. They are fairly generic. They have that green accent going on, which is fine, so that I can just stick them in any old unit. So for example, like this. So this unit of crossbow would have their big old banner as well. That's if I decide to do banners with crossbows. But this is my a bunch. I don't know if it's all, but it's a bunch of my foot banners. Okay, we're going in for more. Yeah, this is probably what's poked me. This is a partial unit of Elite Cav. And I can already see some of the lances on these guys have come off, which is totally fine. That is what super glue's for. Is this pink? Oh my gosh, that's funny. I was just saying there's probably no figures that have pink on them, but this one absolutely does. All right, but here's his lance. Now, are these... I actually am curious. Well, I guess I can look on the code. What is this? Is this B? I can't tell if that is a lowercase b2 or if it's... I can't imagine that it's Z. I'm not sure. The main thing is it's not A, right? So I'm not sure what this is, if this is actually a banner bearer or if this is a... because this is just like my Elite Cav also. They look a lot like this. But I can almost assure you that something like this is L1. Are these all L's? Yeah, L1, L1. What did we say this was? This was something else. And L1. Yeah, all of their lances came off. That's fine. But these are all... And I could actually make them their own unit as well if I wanted to. It's like I can only show like one at a time if I want it to actually focus. Thank you, poor orc child. I am absolutely loving these guys as well. These were meant to be the banner bearers for any of my mounted units. And then they have these lances that go along with them so that I can print out and paste a big old banner onto those standards. But I mean, and I've thought about maybe repainting the tunics, the shields, just so that they're not so colorful and so that they're a little bit more generic, because they're supposed to obviously be generic when they're in a unit of whatever, like if we have a big unit of these, I don't know, what do you think? I don't know. I almost feel like in medieval times you can have different heraldry and stuff in the same unit, because like you have a whole unit of these light cav mounted javelineers, and but then there's that all look like this, all with the same heraldry, and then you have this one guy with their banner, and he's got this yellow and blue thing going on. So we'll see. It's still up in the air how we end up wanting to actually do that. But then there's this guy. I have no clue. I'm gonna have to look in the box once we're done and see if there's any more that look like him, that have this yellow and pink barding going on. That's just hilarious. All right, we have a few lances there that we are going to need to get glued. Do we have them all accounted for is the question now. I feel like we're missing one, and if that's the case, I bet that is where this came from. Our missing lance, or our extra lance from earlier, was probably that guy's. All right, off you go. Trot away, cavalry individuals. No, actually, it wasn't that missing one, because here's one right here. So yeah, we still have one extra lance that we do not have a home for yet that we'll have to keep searching for. And then, of course, some poor guy's shield. We got to reattach that as well. So far, though, I mean, you look at all the figures that we've unboxed so far. We still have a lot to go. And some over here. But very, very few casualties from shipping. And I mean, that just tells you, I feel like I'm touching a lance right now, a loose lance. Yep, I just pulled this out of a box. These are lethal, folks. These are lethal. Look at the point on that, and that is metal. Oh my gosh, those are so sharp. Imagine just sticking your hand down into the box, and then that absolutely gets you. If I'm not careful, it's going to get me again, too. Now, this is a heavy pack. What the heck? Okay, it was just attached to a couple more. But here's another unit of something here. This is either going to be more mounted banner bearers, or it's going to be elite cav. Did we have a... No, you know what? I think this is... Is this a full unit of elite cav? Oh, I love what they did on one of these horses, but I gotta be careful because these lances are sharp. Look at that spotted horse. Oh my gosh, did you just catch that? I just stabbed myself again. Holy cow, on this one right here. Wow. Oh my gosh, I did it again because I can't see around the camera. We gotta be careful, folks, if we want to make it through this live. But look how they did some of these horses. So it's not just the generic brown horse. Some of them are these light tan. But look at this spotted one. That is fantastic. Much appreciation goes to Melinda for doing that. I love it. And with the fact that these all looking like this, I have to think that this is did we have all of our elite cap? I feel like well, I can always look right on the bottom. No, this isn't. These are more mounted banner bearers actually. But I feel like I could use these as a unit themselves because they're so cohesive. But I still feel like I can't remember if we got all of our elite cav or if we're still waiting on some. But let's stick those out of the way and carefully peek in here. And we have more what I assume are foot banner bearers. And these are the old school ones without the wire lances, the less lethal standards. So this should be a little bit easier on the old thumbs. These are the thumb and palm friendly standards. Of course, they definitely bend more than the wire standards, but that is okay. But we have a whole bunch of these guys, and I almost just want to leave these. I don't know. We'll see. Because obviously I have big, high hopes and dreams for my units to actually have flag bearers. But at the same time, I mean, some of these guys look like they are holding a banner, right? Like, this doesn't just look like a spearman. This looks like a banner bearer. But like this looks like it could be a spearman or even a shortish pikeman. So like if I had enough of just him, because obviously with these guys they're almost all the same pose, I could do a full unit of just this. Could I call that elite infantry? I don't know. Elite infantry are like foot men-at-arms and foot sergeants. He lost one of his tufts. The basing on these guys, I don't think I've touched on, is actually really good. Very pleased with the basing on these. Because these are just Litco, I want to say 20 mil rounds. Litco 20 mil rounds. But painted black. All of the metal, these are all metal figures again. They have kind of an intrinsic base, you know where their feet are. And so Blue Table Painting masked that with cork. They actually shaved off cork and put it around the base to mask the intrinsic metal base of the metal figure. And then flocked it and put little rocks and little tufts and stuff. So I really like that. Yeah, these intrinsic, I keep calling them intrinsic, but I think they're separate pieces, but the kind of the sculpted spears or lances definitely have a lot more give to them than those solid metal wire of death lances. But that's okay, because we can just gently, coax these back into position. Yeah, I feel like I want to do a whole unit of just those guys. And I don't think... See, and I even actually accidentally touched the top of one of those and didn't cry out in pain. So yeah, these, I don't know, maybe I can use this sculpt as banner bearers, and then this sculpt as other... Well, because we have more of those also. Where did I put the others of that sculpt at? Oh, there was just one. Because I was going to say, I'm going to need actually more of those if I'm going to do a whole unit of those. But I mean, I guess I could always do this. There. That is a full unit of 12 spearmen right there. Actually, I love that. So, yeah, the jury's still out of whether I'm going to use those as banner bearers or not. Because, like, what were these? Oh, yeah, that was another one of those guys. So, actually, there's a couple of those. But see, here are the wire lance ones. Look how long those are. Those, I feel like I love these more for banners than the short ones. What code is this? Gosh, I can't even read it right now. But I'm sure that this was a foot standard bearer. Come on, what is the deal with the focus? There we go. Foot standard bearer. with the wire lance, which makes it so much easier to put a flag. I'm going to design some flags and maybe some funny ones, or just anything. Probably the historians among you will be very upset with the kind of flags that I'm going to be putting on some of those units, but because then these, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to put a flag on these or not. I may. Otherwise, this may just be a nice unit of spearmen, which I would not be upset about at all. I still think that looks really, really cool, even if we just left those as spearmen. Okay. Now, the thing is, I got to move those away from me because that's about where my arm's going to go. Rick, this was a mistake. Oh, shoot, and there was a hole where the bubble wrap was. All right, we've got to be careful messing around with these wire lances because good night. Good gravy. All right, there's still a bunch of stuff in this box. Should I pull out everything that's left? What was I still looking for? There should be, did we already see? Oh, that's right. One of the skirmisher units was bow and arrows, so that makes sense. Yeah, we got our crossbowmen, we got more of our archers. I'm gonna pull out the rest of this stuff. I'm just trying to think of anything else that think I'm missing. Here's more either elite cavalry or mounted banner bearers. Here's some more of those. Here's some more. And I think that is everything left in the box. So let's crack these open. All right. I know. Orc Child, I need to put a dull point on those because there's no reason for them to be that sharp. When you're playing a war game, like, my gosh. Especially like when you have to take them off the field because you just lost that unit and then they stab you and it's like adding insult to injury or injury to insult. Okay. I mean, gosh, time has absolutely flown because this is over 50 minutes. I can't believe that. All right, here we go. Who are these? All right. Yeah, more light cav. It makes it feel real. I know. It's like I'm there. More light cav. So this is mounted archers. Here is what appears to be, this may be where one of those lances actually came from. Now, this is what I'm calling a standard bearer, because look at this guy. I'm going to just take his lance off right now. This bald-headed, fully armed, fur-caped, big old bushy beard, and then he can hold one of these standards with a big old cool flag on it. Look at that. I just think that is absolutely fantastic. So, and I think there's just one of him. So he's like an elite banner bearer of some kind, maybe going in my leader's unit or something. And then here's another light cav javelineer that I'm going to have to re-glue his javelin. And even those wire javelins are really sharp, but at least they're not pointing straight up. All right. So we had another 2 units of light cav. Because you can see this other lance over here. Look at that, just poking out. It obviously fell off of somebody. Okay, here we go. I chose this kind of dusty, deserty, arid mat for this unboxing because I thought maybe the figures would show up better on it than the typical grassy plains. Okay, we don't want this to tumble over all the time. Okay. I mean, this has to be Elite Cav, right? Is this A something? No, again, this is Z, or is it N? Or is it a B? I'm going to have to look at my sheet. Because here we go. Look at that. Does that not scream heavy cav to you? But evidently, this may just be, and actually, I am okay with that. This may actually just be a generic mounted banner bearer, though it would be funny to stick him in a unit of like light cavalry, and the banner bearer is the most heavily armed figure in the unit. But you know what? I like when those figures are so generic looking. They don't really have a color scheme to them. It's just metal and leather, and then he can have one of these lances that we couldn't find a home for. So I mean, obviously, like you could even use one of these as your company commander, or a special character, or a bunch of them in a unit of heavy cav or elite cav, or like I'm planning on probably doing, mounted banner bearers. Okay, I should, well, I'll do that later, put those figures together in a unit, or put those figures who need repairs together. Here's another one of these guys. That is the 5th one of him. If we can find a 6th one, then we can make a unit of those. Otherwise, here's another one of these guys. This is L2. His shield has come off, but look at this. This guy could 100% be a heavy cav. But he has a cool shield also. So we'll just tuck that on his base. Okay, getting down to it. More lances I can see. These are more of these colorful yellow and blue guys, who I'd almost rather be in their own unit than being the banner bearer for another unit. Again, I may touch up some of the paint on these guys to make them look a little more generic, because I feel like it looks a little out there if he looks like this, but I don't know. We'll see. And the thing is, what other mounted banner bearers did I have? Oh yeah, I had these. Because I was going to say, what I could actually do is, because there are 2 different color schemes of these mounted banner bearers, is because, you know, especially if we're playing just 2 sides, then we can have mounted banner bearers of this color scheme and then mounted banner bearers of this color scheme. And then you could tell at a glance, especially after several turns and maneuvers and everyone's all which way, that this unit, you know, a unit carrying this color of mounted, this could just be that side's colors for their banner bearers, to show that they're cohesively together versus these. Oh, it is a minefield of lances over here right now. Well, at least those 2 stuck together. All right, here's another one of these. And again, this is, and that's so funny because that is pink. They actually did pink and yellow around that horse too. But yeah, so that is, I believe, supposed to be another just generic banner bearer. That's probably what most of these were. So yeah, we'll have to see what we end up doing with those guys. This guy's a little twisted on his base. There we go. Okay, we're down to the last couple packs here. This one has a lance in it, so let's do this and see what we've got. Oh yeah, it's more of those. I feel like, is that a unit? That may actually be a unit, despite what the colors are looking like. Does this guy have, is this guy supposed to have a banner? Yeah. So there's this guy. Look at him. Oh my gosh. He's pretty fierce as well. I just got to straighten him out a little bit there. I actually like the gold. I like the cape, the fur cape, and I like the color scheme on that guy. But he also just looks like a beast. And so he will obviously be carrying this as well. And so this would be a cool banner bearer for your commander's unit potentially if you wanted to do something like that. And then these other guys are, of course, more of these, which are thankfully fairly generic apart from the Easter Sunday tassels going around the neck of the horse. And then one more of these. And that is number 6, right? Yes. So does that mean we also have 6 of the other style? Because if so, there could be another just whole unit of those. So of those, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, there are. I don't even know if I planned it out that way or not, but there's 6 of this color scheme and 6 of this color scheme. So I could absolutely make these banner bearers for each side, or they could be 2 separate units of 6, because in Lion Rampant, a unit of cavalry, no matter what rank it is, are all in units of 6 figures. Okay, last but not least, assuredly not least, last but certainly, we would never call them least. Let's see what we've got right past the hour mark here. And then don't forget, eventually I will do a full overview. And yeah, these were more. This probably finishes up. I mean, gosh, how many figures are in that unit? I feel like we were pulling these guys out for ages, but maybe not. I guess that was just 6 of these mounted light cav. So a couple of more of those light cav. And one more of these light cav with the javelin. That I'll have to reattach this guy's javelin. But that is it. Oh my gosh, we did it. But let's also do a recap. So there's all these guys and a couple units over here. So we have foot musicians. We have a unit of crossbow. We have, I think, a unit of heavy or elite cav, as well as what I believe are mounted banner bearers. More crossbows, more archers, foot banner bearers. We have some mounted priests. Do we only have 2 of them? I thought we had more than 2, but maybe just 2. More crossbows, some archers, some what I believe are also mounted special characters, and way over there more archers, and that unit of warrior infantry, those female Valkyries, and more foot banner bearers. All right, so let's take a peek and see if we got everything. There should be 160 figures here. So we have our big old cheat sheet of all our stuff. All right. I should also take a peek over there too. Yeah, I feel like there was one unit of mounted knights. I feel like we only had 3. I feel like one of these has to be, like, some of these say Z. There's no such thing as Z. Miscellaneous. We got the casualties. Charlemagne, Viking Standard, and Hornblower. And I'm pretty sure this is the Viking Hornblower. Medieval command times 7, Norman infantry command times 3. We got the monks and the jester. And then here are these mounted commands, mounted men-at-arms, and mounted Saxon characters. And then we got almost all of this already. We already had the skirmishers. We only had 1 unit of crossbows, so we got the other 3 units of crossbows, so that's good. But realistically, I need to be... Okay, so it was N. So that's what it is. Well, N1 was just leaders. So this is what the leaders look like. And yeah, that makes total sense because that's exactly what we have. 2 mounted and 3 foot because we have Charlemagne and then these 2 because we have this guy and that other really cool guy that I was just talking about. And of course now I can't find him. Oh yeah, there he is with his lance. So that guy with the lance and this guy and his counterpart on horseback, which is this guy. So these 2 and that foot banner bearer and that horn blower, yeah, way over there, right there. So we got all of them with Charlemagne, of course. Now here, yeah, I guess there really were only 2 of these mounted priests. Mounted Saxon characters, men-at-arms, and Norman command. So as you can see, there's a bunch of these mounted hornblowers, a bunch of these. Yeah, there were a ton of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that makes sense that some of those were painted one way and some another way. I'm actually glad they did that because we did L1 and L2. We called L1 banners. We called L2 special characters. But I'm glad they did those in 2 different color schemes. So they did those in that color scheme and then these in this color scheme. So they could almost be units themselves if I didn't want to use them as banner bearers. And I think that was pretty much it because we had all of those. Here are all of these. These were all of the medieval command. Yeah, we already got the monks and the jester. And then so the rest of these were banner bearers and musicians. And that's what all these musicians are. The musicians are okay. I think they just look kind of off because they're all together like this. But like if I stuck this guy over here... Yeah, I mean, he still kind of stands out, right? I don't know. We'll see what we do with him. What we do with those guys. But the figures and units themselves all look really good. And then we have... Where are these guys at? Unless... I'm trying to think if I took them out. Because, you know, I was like, I don't really need all of this. Because I did get extra figures that I didn't get commissioned because I was like, I have no need for those. So like these 2 and maybe even like that guy, I should have just thrown them all in to get them all painted, but c'est la vie. We have those guys already. There were 3 of those, yep, because we got those in the last shipment already. But yeah, there's just all of these banner bearers that we have to decide what we're going to do with the banners. If we are going to use them as banner bearers or if we're going to use them some other way. All right, can I actually keep count here? Because there's 3, 6, 9, 12, 13. That's an odd number, right? There's 13 foot musicians. Does that even make sense? Like, how can there only be 13 foot musicians? Because in each of these units is 1 musician. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yep, that's exactly right. So there's 13 foot musicians. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 crossbows. We got the 12 crossbows. I think we saw over here already that there was 12 crossbows. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Yep, and this is a special guy. Look at all these lances. I don't know if you can tell. All those spiky, sticking up metal pole lances. Ouch. We can put some of these guys to the side. Because these are the special characters. And then this guy as well goes with them. And I know Charlemagne is out there somewhere. Yeah. So these were like the leader. This was like the leadership position over here. Yeah, this says Z9. I don't know what the Z means. I feel like this is a unit of elite cavalry. All day long is this a 6-figure unit of elite cavalry, I feel like. Because these are some of the same sculpts that we have for the other units of elite cavalry, and we were missing one unit of elite cavalry. So I think that's supposed to actually be A, not Z. Maybe they just used Z because they didn't realize, or they had lost track of who was who. Because that also explains why there's this pink knight here, which is so funny. So this is a unit of what I'm calling elite cavalry because we were missing a unit of elite cav. But anyways, I think I'll just do the math myself later. But that is everybody so far. Really super excited about all of this. This is going to be fantastic. Another milestone down. This was about 160 figures added to the other 330 figures. So now we have nearly 500 Lion Rampant figures, but I'm calling them Lion Rampant, but obviously they can be used for anything. But I'm really excited to use them for Lion Rampant. One of my favorite miniatures rules battle wargame rule sets. All right, folks, that'll do it. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, I do truly appreciate it. And until next time.